So if you want to depose the Queen as racist, and you basically don't like Canada Day because it's apparently racist, what do you get? Well, you get a Liberal appointment. Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me are Warren Kinsella and Brian Lilley. Brian, let's talk about this latest Liberal appointment, Amira Elghawaby. She writes often for the Toronto Star. She is now the special representative to combat Islamophobia, recently appointed by Justin Trudeau. But there's some questions about this appointment, aren't there?
It seems to me like another case of they didn't do their vetting. I don't know her. I don't know her writing, but some of it's been pointed out to me since, and it makes you go, oh, okay. Did they really think this through? Kind of like when they appointed Julie Payette as Governor General. I always figured that meeting went something like a scene out of Beavis and Butthead with one of the guys at the table sitting around going, boss, it'd be cool. Astronauts are cool. And then they didn't look into her background. Here you're appointing somebody to deal with an issue of racism. That's fine. That's well and good. And I have no problem with the government doing that, whether it's Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, anti-Black racism. I have no problem with that. But appointing someone who is trying to find racism and Islamophobia under every rock may not be the way to go if your goal is healing. Warren's somebody that has been fighting racism and white supremacy and skinheads, quite literally, for decades. And I've known him a long time. He's not looking for racism behind every person and every institution. And there are plenty of people in the Muslim community who would be very much the same, but would be willing to, find that common ground while combating Islamophobia. And maybe that should have been the way they went.
So, Warren, Amira Elghawaby is her name, and she has written extensively a number of op-eds, as I said, for the Toronto Star. In one, she talked about, basically that we should disarm the police, and another, she referred to the Quebec government as bullies. There's a long, body of work
not wrong
there. There's a long body of work there that could suggest that a little bit more of a deeper dive into her background would have been important. Are we seeing yet another issue of lack of vetting, Warren, or is this just because the Trudeau Liberals are so about identity politics, they want to tick a few boxes and they're good with that?
Yeah, I think there's two problems with it. I don't know this woman, but when I worked for Jean Chrétien, as you guys know I did, we were very careful about the appointments we made because they would be always properly subject to a lot of scrutiny. And this woman, kind of sucked up to Justin Trudeau an awful lot. That seems to have been a consideration in her appointment. So that has a bad look. But the other problem I have with it is it's just associated with Islamophobia. As Brian just pointed out, and as you know, I've been writing about this area and researching it for more than 30 years. There's anti-Semitism, there's Islamophobia, there's homophobia, there's misogyny. Appointing someone just for one, I think, is problematic because then, the Jewish community, the gay and lesbian community, and other communities will say, well, what about us? We want a special representative too. And then it turns into a mess, and it looks like the government is favoring one constituency over another. So I have some big problems with this appointment, just generally, whoever receives the appointment, but it looks like she got it because, she was awfully nice to Justin Trudeau.
Brian, last word to you. We've had these issues with the identity politics and virtue signaling and making these appointments just to sort of cover that off, just to say we're doing something about it. Laith Marouf comes to mind. We know what happened around there. But last word to you on this one. Are there going to be much consequence to this appointment? Do the Trudeau Liberals just say ignore the noise, everything's fine?
People who don't like Justin Trudeau are going to hate this appointment, and people who Justin Trudeau is trying to woo with this appointment will love it. Every appointment and everything that Justin Trudeau does is about finding success with the small fragment of the electorate that he's targeting. The eldest cabinet retreat in Hamilton, there's a reason for that. part of the reason he announced that he wants to do a review of the notwithstanding clause and Doug Ford's use of it is he's falling in support with women. Doug Ford used the notwithstanding clause in a fight with educational workers who are mostly women. So Justin Trudeau is always just trying to target a voting group. And maybe in this case, he said, oh, part of the Muslim community's not as friendly to me as they used to be. Let's do something. That's what drives his politics. It's not what's best for the country at any given time. It's what's best for his electoral fortunes the next time he has to face voters. I wish it weren't that way. I'm not the only one that thinks it. It's simply the reality with this prime minister. You could say it's the same with all of them, but he is to a much higher degree in that camp.
Well, the tactics seem to be working. He has been prime minister since 2015. Log on to Facebook and Twitter and let us know what you think, and go to thetorontosun.com. Hit that subscribe button. You'll see more content from Brian and Warren and coverage you will not find anywhere else.